Most High Christ bless. This is What is Life. I'm Brother Parat, and I got with me Brother Anab. In today's class, we want to go over a topic dealing with our surroundings, bringing awareness to basically like the lack of things we have around us that we're supposed to have. So the topic is called We Have No Community. And a lot of people might hear that and think, well, yeah, we do have a community, just off what they see, but not really understanding the dynamics of a community. So once again, this is What is Life, and this is for our people, the so-called blacks and Hispanics, the biblical Israelites, the people of the slave trade, the ones who lost basically their history. Go to Sirach 34 first. Because I just want to explain something. Because we might look at the things that surround us and we might think we have a community, like I said, just off what we see. But a lot of the things that we see is made up off of a falsehood. So it's like this where all our thoughts come from. This where our structure come from. It's from what we see and the things that we taught. So a lot of people might know this as the American dream. That's what our mind is made up of. What we can chase. What's shown to us in society that we're supposed to go after. Read that. 34. Verse 1.
The book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 34 and verse 1. The hopes of a man void of understanding are vain and false.
So it said the hopes of a man void of understanding are vain and false. When you look at a lot of the things we see, the things we hope for, these are things that's given to us, things we should chase in life, things we should give all our time to. The way we deal with problems that we face, the way we structure our life, these are the hopes that we have. But when you actually look at it, it's off a falsehood. It's like a battery pack. It's like a battery that's been put in our back. And it's like we just been programmed to go after something that's false. So it says the hopes of a man void of understanding are vain and false. Keep going.
And dreams lift up fools.
And dreams lift up fools. That's important because it's like what our people live after is that American dream. That false livelihood that's given to you to chase after. And when you look at the things that's been given to us, this way has never worked for us. It's never profited us. But as a people, we continue to strive forward. That's why I show you the hopes of a man with no understanding is vain and is false. Read the next verse.
Verse 2. Whoso regardeth dreams is like him that catcheth a shadow.
Imagine trying to catch a shadow. It's impossible. It's just showing you how crazy out of your mind a person would look to try to catch a shadow. But this is somebody who live after a dream or live after a falsehood. But this is what we have as a people. Because when you look at our surroundings, when you actually examine it, you actually see everything we lack. So when we look at things like we have a community because we never stop to understand, well, what is that community? What do it mean for us to have a community? That word is thrown around so easy amongst our people, but not really understanding how much that we really lacking and not really understanding what we have and that is not really a community. Jump down and read verse 7.
The book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 34 and verse 7. For dreams have deceived many.
For dreams have deceived many. So these falsehoods, this false way of life, it's deceived many people. It's taken many people to their grave, all from chasing something that's not real, all from a false thought. That's what you're going to understand about a community. A lot of people think a community is all based off people. The most important part of the community is the thought that's behind it. What's structuring the people? What's ordering the people? This is what makes up the community. And it's what we lack as a people. It's not so much as just the group of people, but it's the mindset behind the people. And this is the part that we're missing as a people. Keep going.
And they have failed that put their trust in them.
And it said they have failed. When you look at us, you look at what we trust in, you look at the hopes that we have, we see that for dreams have deceived many, and they have failed, they have put their trust in them. So when you look at the falsehood that we trust in, the false way of life, for us to have a belief in a community that we think we have, how is it that we don't see the downfall of it? How is it that we don't see that it is the way it's set up is not working for us? It's never profited us. So as a people, it got to come a time when we consider what's actually good for us. What did we structure for ourselves? This is how we will start to understand the community. Because you look at a lot of the things that we have is not from us. We didn't build up our surroundings. Everything was handed to us, or everything was forced upon us. So what is good for us? Because what might be good for another nation of people, or how another nation of people operate, that doesn't mean it's going to work for us as a people. But due to all the things we've been through as a people, a lot of our ways we've forgotten. So we have to begin to search those things out. See what type of structure we had. You was about to say something?
You want the definition?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Jump over to chapter 37. And read verse 27.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach, chapter 37 and verse 27. My son, prove thy soul and thy life.
So that's what we got to do. Prove your soul and your life. Keep going.
And see what is evil for it.
Right. No, what is good for us as a people? Mm-hmm. These the type of conversations we're supposed to have as a people. But when you don't have no structure, these type of conversations don't come up. Right. So it says, see what is evil for it. So we're supposed to know what can harm us as a people. Mm-hmm. We're supposed to know what doesn't work for us as a people. But you see the things we struggle from amongst our people. Who's standing up against it? Who's trying to prevent it? Because this structure is failing us. Down from the music that we listen to the foods we eat, to the laws that we follow. None of it is profiting us. So what is it that we should be looking at as a people? What is it that we should be seeking out if the system that we put hope in is continually failing us? That's why we say we have no community. We don't have a community. All we have is a falsehood that was given to us. Read that verse again from the top.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 37 and verse 27. My son, prove thy soul and thy life, and see what is evil for it, and give not that unto it.
Right, so when we know what's evil, when we know what's not profiting us, the scripture said, don't give that not to it. Don't put that before yourself. When are we going to consider this as a people? When are we going to look on all the things that we deal with? And when are we going to consider, oh, this is not good for us. We need to put this away from us. Mm-hmm. This is a part of having a community. But this is what we don't have as a people. Read that definition of community. Matter of fact, before you read that, read the next verse.
That's good. Verse 28. For all things are not profitable for all men.
All things are not profitable for all men. So when you look at the ways we follow, for instance, you can look at the laws we follow. You look at all the customs we have now. The scriptures say all things, for all things are not profitable for all men. This way of life that's been given us, it hasn't been profitable. It hasn't helped us. We haven't been succeeding as a people, not as an individual, because an individual don't make up a community. We talking about a community. So these things are not helping us succeed as a people, as a unit. So we need to look on these things. We got to understand these things are not profiting us. So what made up our community? Or how did we lose our community? Read that verse again.
For all things are not profitable for all men. Neither have every soul pleasure in everything.
Right. Neither have every soul pleasure in everything. Going right back up to the verse above. We supposed to know what's supposed to be able to profit us. A lot of the things that we taking pleasure in is hurting us. So that's not really pleasure. That's deception. Going back to what we read in Ecclesiastes 34 about a man void of understanding. You have false hopes. This is what we have as a people because we don't understand our structure. We don't understand how to build our community or what profit us as a people. So read that definition of community. A lot of people, like I said, they think we have a community. But when you really look at how a community is built and understand that a community is not like solely just based off people, but the community, it comes from the like mindset of the people. Like what the people are all together in. That's what builds that community. And that's what we don't have. Because a forced community or a controlled environment, that's not a community. That's more like slavery. Read that.
A community is a social unit.
So first thing, it says a social unit. You look at us as a people, we are not as a unit. But this is what the scriptures teach us. Go to
Say one body.
Right. Go to 1 Corinthians 1 and 10 real quick. First thing it says, a community is a social unit. First thing is letting you know is structure. This what we don't have structure. Even if some people might look and think, oh yeah, we do have structure. We have these things set up. Did you set them up? Did we gather as a people and say, this is for us? We want this to work for us this way. If we didn't do that, we don't have a community. And we didn't do that. None of our structure comes from us. None of us got together and said, look, this is going to benefit us. This is what we're missing out on as a people. This was stopping us from gathering or being as that unit or having that like mind as a people. Read that. 1 Corinthians 1 and 10.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 1. Chapter 10. The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 1 and verse 10. Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that ye all speak the same thing.
That ye all speak the same thing. Going right back into being as that unit, having that structure, that togetherness. Keep going.
And that there be no divisions among you.
There be no divisions among you. The scriptures shows us how to build that community. It shows us the basics of it. Structure, order. First thing we see when you look at a community, a social unit. Keep going.
But that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind.
Perfectly joined together in the same mind. In order for this to happen, in order for people to be joined together in the same mind, it has to be some type of unity. It has to be some type of council. These are things, it's hard for our people to come together on these type of things because we never learned order. The way we've been taught, it's like we've been taught for everything just to be given to us or everything just to be put before us. Huh? You operate like this. You do this. You keep this law. That's how we're shown to operate as a people. That's what's hindering us. Because we're being held back purposely from our own structure. And we're going to touch on all those things. Why we're being held back. Why is not promoted for us to have our own community or things that's good for us as a people? These are the type of questions you got to ask yourself. Because our people don't think like this. And it's the problem. We think on so many other things, but like the structure, the important things of being a group of people or a nation of people, we don't consider these things. We like to let other people do it for us, and this is actually our downfall. This was actually always hurted us throughout history. And it's how we could learn to correct these things when we look throughout history and we can see, oh, damn, this is why our people messed up then. Well, let's go back and try this old way that profited us. Let's set our community how our forefathers set it. Read that again from the top.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 1 and verse 10. Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that ye all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you.
There be no divisions among you. A lot of the time when there's divisions amongst us as a people, that's where other people can creep in. Because we're not perfectly joined together. It's very important for us to be perfectly joined together. That's the unity. Most importantly, that's the strength. So this is something else that hinders us. Because instead of us seeking this peace, because that's another thing that this unity represents, or being perfectly joined together it represents peace. Instead of us having this peace amongst one another, we seek it in other places. But this weakens us. This weakens our family or our nation. Hold that real quick. You want to say something?
Yeah, I'm going to touch on that. The Lord show you this with your own body. He show you this with your own body. It says, now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that we all speak the same thing, and that be no divisions among you, but be perfectly joined together. The way your body is put together, nothing works against itself. You got two arms. Your arms don't work against your legs. Your legs don't work against your arms. Your eyes don't work against your ears. Right. They don't work against your mouth. They all are different components, but together, like you said, that's what makes that strength. Right. And when you have an ailment in your body, that's that division that comes along and that weakens the whole unit. Whether you have a sprained ankle or you have back spasms or whatever the case may be, now that's the intelligence, the brain, the spirit, or like the scriptures say, let this mind be in you, that starts to send emergency signals to the spirit, hey, something is wrong. That's why even when we went to battle and Joshua was seeing that we was losing, he was like, no, we got the Lord with us. Something is wrong. We don't never supposed to be losing.
Right.
We don't never supposed to be losing because we have the Son of God with us. There's nothing that we can't defeat. Something is wrong. So that's how the Lord show us spiritual things in the physical. And when we look at our body, that's how the nation's supposed to be. That's why the Lord said we one body, but many parts. When we perfectly join together in sound mind, which is you can tell a person is crazy, and you can tell when a person has some type of decorum and some type of honor and humility about them from the way they carry themselves. You can look at all these things through the body of a person. That's how Israel's supposed to be, right. With that strength, with that spirit of Christ behind them, with those attributes. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, but since you said that and used the body as an example, perfect example, many members but one body. Imagine how crazy if your arm try to leave and go on another body.
Right.
That's how weird it is amongst us as a people. Instead of us being perfectly joined together, we got members, we got arms and fingers leaving and going and seeking peace in other places. The scriptures letting us know it shouldn't be like that.
Or you put a third arm in the middle of your back.
Right.
How you gonna lay down and rest?
Right.
The Lord, that's working against what the Lord gave you.
Out of order.
That's out of order, right? The Lord gave you 2 arms, but you like, yeah, I like that, but let me take from over here. Let me take from these customs of these people and add it to what I'm doing. Nah, the Lord ain't set it up like that.
Right. Showing you it ain't no structure in that. So this what the Bible is showing us in 1 Corinthians 1 and 10. It's showing you that unity and that structure, but all of it should bring peace. We mess that peace up.
Right.
When a member leave and try to attach to another body. Hold this, go to 1 Ezra chapter 8 and verse 85.
Big precept.
Perfect example with the body. Just imagine your arm leaving and attaching to another body.
Right.
And we could look at ourselves like that and understand these things, then we can see how weird it is for us. And this how other people look at us. Read that.
85?
Yep.
The book of 1 Ezra, chapter 8 and verse 85. Moreover, ye shall never seek to have peace with them.
The scriptures say, moreover, you shall never seek to have peace with them. Why are we seeking to go have peace with other people when we're the ones without a community? We the ones without a structure. We the ones without a social unit. We the ones that's not perfectly joined together. So why should we seek peace somewhere else? Keep going.
Moreover, ye shall never seek to have peace with them, that ye may be strong.
That ye may be strong. That's the point. You shall never seek to have peace with another people, that you may be strong. You seeking peace other places, or that member leaving off to be a part of a different body or another nation. No, that weakens us. This what we have yet to understand as a people, just because we don't understand the simplicity in the community. And we can't understand the simplicity in the community, we can never operate as a nation. And that's what we lost. This the type of understanding that we lost as a people, and how we got to the point that we're in today. Go back to 1 Corinthians. And you can finish that.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 1 and verse 10. Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, that ye all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you, but that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment.
In the same mind and in the same judgment. Showing how we're going to be operating in that togetherness as a unit. Go back and read that definition.
Could you imagine if your left leg wanted to go left and your right leg wanted to go right?
Straight confusion. You can't walk. You can't walk.
You never get nowhere.
But all these examples are so perfect because then you look at us as a people, we like a people who can't walk. We just can't get up. It's like a continual fall for us. But we not examining what's been given to us. Because as a people, we're not sitting down, taking counsel, and considering what's important for us as a people. Before you read that, read Proverbs 29 and 18. These things that's important for us. And we see by what we have now, nobody has that care for us. You look at some of these laws that get passed, and you look at how they affect us as a people. Nobody got that care for us.
Right.
But who amongst us as a people, who amongst us gonna be like, nah, this ain't good for us? Look, we not operating like this. We're gonna operate this way. Read that.
See, they trying to railroad us. Why not just come back to something that's above it all? Where you don't even have to worry about which law they make against you because you in order with the Most High.
Just like we read in Ecclesiastes 37, about how all things are not profitable for all men. You look at the laws that's given to us in our environment today. I don't even want to say community because it's like we don't have it.
Right.
So I don't even want to push it like we have it because people always talk about, our community or the black community. This is a falsehood. But like the scriptures say, all things are not profitable for all men. You look at the laws that's set up around us. Just by knowing that I can do something and be guilty, but beat it in this system, that should let you know that's one of the problems with us as a people. It's the laws that we have. It's the structure that's given to us to keep order. There's no order within the structure. Why would I want a structure to set order on my people over my people when there's loopholes in it? Right. So it's showing you this is not good for us. This is one of the problems that we're able to do evil and get back. That mindset is pushed so much amongst our people, not just through laws, but even through other things our people follow. Read that. We're going to touch on that too.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 29 and verse 18. Where there is no vision.
Where there is no vision. Where there's no path. Where there's no goal set for the people. Where there's no outlook on what way we should go in. So the scripture said, where there is no vision, keep going.
The people perish.
And the people perish. So when you look at us and how we are as a people, there's no vision. There's no path set for us. This is why you see that continual fall. It said, where there is no vision, the people perish. This was happening with us. We perishing. And we touched on that last class we did about how we perish. You see Baruch touching on that in Baruch 3. How we perish as a people. But look at the things we have hope in. What hope is it that we have in if the faith that we put in something, we still perishing? We still falling? We still can say we have a community? Nah, if just to say you have a community is a form of thriving. We ain't thriving as a people. We ain't growing, we ain't succeeding, we ain't progressing. All these things back up a community. Progress, one of the main things. We don't have that. So what is it that we have in hope in? Go back to what did I tell you? Oh no, I told you read the you can read the definition. Yeah, then I'll finish.
So to piggyback on what you were saying, it's like how the older people try to tell the younger people, like, hey man, you in the dope game, or you living this street life, you're gonna end up in two places: jail, or the old folks say penitentiary. They say the penitentiary, or they say the grave. Now, they say it's foolish for a person to say, well, nah, he just hustling wrong, or he just being a gangster wrong. But you tried your way and you still end up in the same two places that they said you was going to be. In the penitentiary or the grave. That's the same way how people that's got the Spirit of Christ and the Most High, and we came back to our heritage being the Israelites, we look at these other things the same way by our people jumping into the political system. You think that you being in this position is going to help our people. It's like you lining up and the person with a gun just mowing people down, and you say, when I get up there, he ain't gonna shoot me because I'm a duck, or I'm gonna do a backflip, or I'm gonna do a cartwheel and he gonna miss. Nah, you gonna still get shot because there's no sound in it. It's not a part of the body. I just wanted to say that right quick. Because it's foolish to continue to think that you gonna play by their rules and prosper, because they rules fail them.
Right.
They God failed them.
Right. And that's crazy you said that, because that's a part of the continual fall. Because people think, get Proverbs 14 to 12. Like you look at the type of gatherings we have, like people have things, they call them community cookouts. They had the thing here in Petersburg. Yeah, we went to a couple of them, these Stop the Violence things. But when you go to these type things, is based on the same structure that's killing us. So it's like you building us to the same structure that's been a terror to us. This is a problem amongst our community. I can't even say community. This is a problem amongst us as a people. Because our mindset is according to the structure that was given to us. This is perpetuating the downfall. It's keeping it going. It's not putting an end to it. But because we don't have the understanding of what a community is, we only seek a certain way. We only seek a certain structure. Like we don't have our thought. So we right now as a people, we don't have the ability to think on what we need because our mind is in a form of control. Read that.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 14 and verse 12. There is a way which seemeth right unto a man.
So there's a way that seems right. You look at our people, they try to come together. But when they come together, it's according to this system. That's the problem. We have to understand outside of this. But our people never seek how it got to this. And this helps our downfall just keep going. It gives it no end. Because when you think of help, that help is actually a false hope, like we read in Ecclesiastes 34. Or it's a vain help. It's not going to really help you. But it has the form of help. Like it might look like help on the surface. But when you really examine it, is no growth coming from it. And this is a struggle amongst us as a people. Keep going.
There is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death.
Right, but the end thereof are the ways of death. The things our people think right or what might help us or the things they trust in is the things that's continually killing us. So how is it that we can think we have a community? So it's showing you it's just a deception. That's all it is. It's like a covering just over your face. We like boo-boo the fool. Finish reading that definition.
A community is a social unit, a group of living things, with commonality such as norms.
Such as norms. What's the normal amongst your people? We don't have a normal amongst us.
Right.
We have what's been shown to us as normal. We have things put before us that's going to describe us, and we just follow it. That's what we have. We don't have what's normal to us. The same way how you look at how certain agendas push today with homosexuality, with how men dress, with how women dress. These the lewdness behind these different acts has become normal. Who okayed this amongst us as a people?
Removing labels from common sense, like saying that a person is not a male or not a female.
Right.
Just saying that was subscribed to them at birth. That's madness. That's what people that's a part of the alphabet community say. I'm not a male. The doctor just put that title on me at birth, but that's not what I am. But then when you go to buy clothes, you go into the male section or you go into the female section.
Right. Who made this normal? And see, our people, you have our people that's just, they love it. They think it's okay, but they don't understand that was given to them. They didn't think upon that. They were taught it. It was like it was pushed on you. Because you didn't have your own mind to think. So who make these things normal? We supposed to have things that we consider supposed to be normal amongst us. That's what we supposed to have. Things we see today, years ago, we would have looked at people like it was crazy. But now it's like, you can't say nothing about that person, one that identifies as a woman, even though they're a man. This is the normal now. Somebody set our environment like this. That's not our community. Keep reading.
Such as norms, religion.
Religion. The way the laws of this government that's supposed to provide order over our people, the way it's set up, is the same way the religion that was pushed on our people is set up, Christianity. They both set up the same way. The law system is set up with loopholes to avoid judgment or to be able to do evil and disregard obedience. That's the same way Christianity set up. Right. This thought now, because what's behind all these things you read about a community is a thought, is a mindset. This is the mindset that's upon our people. This what was given. This how it was given to them to operate in a controlled environment or in a forced community. You look at Christianity is taught for people basically to be out of order. It's taught in a deceptive way for people to do evil and don't worry about it. Keep reading.
Such as norms, religion, values.
Values. We supposed to have things we value as a people. Outside of cars, outside of clothes, we had real values as a people. Things that meant something to our culture. Things that represented our community. We had these values. We don't have them no more. Keep going.
Customs or identity.
It said customs. You look at all the traditions of things we follow today, that none of them are ours. Down to Juneteenth. That's not even ours. Somebody had to give you that. That's not ours. Because to this day, we still don't have a community. So how can we have a form of freedom? It doesn't make sense. It says identity. Identity makes up a community. This is one of the biggest things we lack. We're known as the black community. But none of the people are the color black. So how can we have a community? We don't have an identity as a people. We don't have customs as a people. We don't have values. So as a people, we got to start to search these things out. Understand how did it get like this? Because when you look through history, you can see these things happening to us as a people. You can see our customs being removed. You can see our identity being taken away. You can see our values being stolen. You can see all these things. You can see our customs being stolen. All these type of things. Go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1. Chapter 1 and verse 10. Yeah. So when you look throughout history, when you see how our people was dealt with in slavery. Because the same things we talked about that make up a community, even when you read in books like Babylon and Timbuktu, you see how when it got our people, he described the community we had, the culture we had, different types of workmanship that we had, different values that we had. Most importantly, our identity, how we had our identity, and our culture and our identity, they were together. So when you look at history, you see these things, but we know during slavery, a lot of these things became hidden. We know they purposely beat these things out of our people. But when we search through history, we can see these same things happening. The structure of us as a people being taken away, our values being stolen, our custom, our laws, our order, they're all being taken away. Purposely.
There's so much pride on them, they made a mirror of it, called it the Arch of Titus. 70 AD, showing on this mural that they taking all golden manure and all records and all this stuff and putting us in slavery. That's how much pride they got on.
And our people don't even consider to look at these things. It had to be something powerful about us as a people to the point that they would hide all of our structure from us and give us a completely different structure, a completely different order. It must have been something real powerful about the way we unify. And they would hide it to the point, to the extent that they do.
Okay.
Yeah, verse 10.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of son of Antiochus, the king who had been an hostage at Rome. And he reigned in the 137 year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
Right, so you see right here it's talking about King Antiochus, a king of the Greeks. When you look at the kingdom of the Greeks, this was another kingdom that ruled over us. Similar to the same kingdom that's ruling over us today. Keep reading.
Verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us.
Right, and these are the type of things we made mention of earlier. We always have our people that want to seek peace or seek another way outside of what we had. But this was always a downfall for us. Because even when you look at the structure we had, because it's showing you many Israelites said, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen. They want to make a covenant with the people that's around them. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 7 to bring that out. Yeah. Just to show this was always a problem with us as a people. But when you look at what was supposed to keep us in order or keep our community strong, it told us not to do these things. But once we decide to step out of it, we get that downfall. Yeah, you can start at verse 1.
Okay. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 1. When the Lord God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou.
Keep going.
Verse 2. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee.
So when the Lord show you his power in delivering all these nations that's stronger than you before you, delivering them in your hand, giving you that power over them, keep going.
Thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them.
Right. The Lord said you shall make no covenant with them. Make no agreements with these people. This is always to this day, this is a problem with us as a people. We see the same thing with our other tribes and with the what we know as the Native Americans. We see the same thing with the Hispanics. We always want to go and make a covenant with another people. And every time we do it, we fall. We could go back to our order, though. This is what's supposed to set up our community and keep it peaceful. The Lord said don't make no covenants with them. The Lord showing you don't put no trust with these people. How many people come into us to make a covenant with us? How many people seeking our way? None. Because they know if we trying to build and they can infiltrate, we can't build. If we're going to build or have a community, it has to be solely off us. That's what our law is showing us. This is what our structure for our community, this is what it's showing us. Don't make no covenants with them. Keep going. Might as well read the next verse. This is an important part of our community too.
Verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. This is something else that continually brings down our community. Making marriages with the other people. When you make a marriage with somebody of another nation, that takes you from your culture. That brings you into something else that's for another people. Like we read earlier, all things not profitable for all men. So we see the Lord telling us, don't make no marriages with them. Like we read in 1 Ezra 8, this is to keep you strong. Our seed should not be amongst another people. This is going to keep our community strong. Keep going.
Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son.
Right, keep going.
Verse 4, for they will turn away thy son from following me.
Right, this going to turn our children away from following the Lord. The Lord is the strength in the back. The Lord is our community. That's what our community is based off, because our community is supposed to be based off his word. But what you're going to see as we keep reading in 1 Maccabees, that's how our community was taken away. Once that understanding of our community, and it comes solely from the Lord from these scriptures, once that's removed, we have a downfall. And that's what we're going to see. And when you see it, you're going to be able to understand the way the people being dealt with. It's only one people being dealt with like this on the earth. This is how you can take claim to your records. This is how you can take claim to your structure. It's showing you. Go back to 1 Maccabees. And read verse
11.
Yeah.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we had much sorrow. The same things you see our people saying when the Lord bring them out of Egypt. They want to go back and eat the foods they was eating in Egypt. So our people always seeking to be amongst these heathen. These heathen always showed us that they are our enemies. Right.
Read the next verse.
Verse 12. So this device pleased them well.
So it pleased our people well to do this. Before we keep going, go to Nehemiah chapter 5. I just want to touch this because I know we're reading about it saying heathen. So I want to show what the scriptures is showing us what these heathens represent for. Because you can see our people, they want to follow behind them. They want to go and make a covenant with them, even though we see our law or our structures telling us don't do it.
You want verse 9 or you want?
Verse 9.
The book of Nehemiah, chapter 5 and verse 9. Also I said, it is not good that ye do. Ought ye not to walk in the fear of our God?
Are we not to walk in the fear of our God? But when you see our people right here, 1 Maccabees, it said this thing pleased them. It pleased them to do this, showing they weren't walking in the fear of their God. And every time we do this as a people, we fall. Keep going.
Because of the reproach of the heathen, our enemies.
The heathen, our enemies. The Lord shows us all throughout the Bible that these people are our enemies. To this day, we can see how they operate, how they deal with us, that they show themselves as a continual enemy. But since we living after that American dream, that falsehood, only going off what we see, we miss everything. Go back to 1 Maccabees.
Same person that told you to love your enemy.
Right.
Taught you to understand that your oppressor.
Coming from what? Like we see, things that make up a community. The norms, religion. They taught you that form of religion. The Bible never told you to love your enemy in that aspect. That wasn't the structure that was given us.
Right.
It didn't tell us that. Matter of fact, go to since we on it, Sirach 12 and 10. Lord ain't never tell us to operate like that.
The book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12 and verse 10. Never trust thine enemies.
Scriptures telling us never trust thy enemies. So when we see these heathen, these other nations are our enemy, the Lord is letting us know, look, never trust them. That's why we see even in the law, it's telling us don't make no covenants with them. That's the same thing it's saying right here. Don't trust them. If I'm not going to trust them, I know I ain't going to make no covenant with them.
Right.
Keep reading.
For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
Right. The same way iron rusted is the same way you can count on him being that heathen, him being wicked. This is what the Lord is telling us. All this is supposed to be for our good. That's why the Lord instructed us in the way he did. It was for our good. So when we leave from it, we can only have the opposite of good. Right. And that's what we're going to see in 1 Maccabees. Read verse 13.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 13. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen.
Same thing you see now. We get licenses to do after the manner of these people. Who told you have to have a license to drive? Who told you that? No, this is the manner of the heathen. They said you have to get a license.
Right.
Who told you needed a license to go hunt to be able to provide food for your family? Who told you need a license to go fish to be able to provide food for your family? This is after the manner of the heathen. Since we chose to follow them, we have to seek their way. We have to go by their policies and their procedures in the way we operate. When we already had a structure. But since our people, they see these things, and like the scriptures say, it pleased them.
Right.
These things please our people to follow after your enemy. So since you're able to grasp certain things, since you're able to obtain certain things by following after the heathen, that's what's pleasing our people. It's all what they see. Man, I can go be amongst them. I can live like this. Shoot, if I do this, shoot, I could be able to buy this. You willing to give up anything because you chasing after the lust, the things you see. Same way with the music industry, the entertainment industry. Period. That destroys us as a people because we have no morals when it comes to it. Our people willing to do anything to seek them riches because you going after them other nations who control these things and it please you to be able to do anything to get them. You want to say something?
It's just like, man, you was talking the other night, what was it, like 1 something, 2 something? And we was talking about how the rap game and the dope game go hand in hand. Because everybody think they one hit away from making it. Everybody think they one play away from making it in the streets.
Yeah.
And all the whole time that jumping and losing, you destroying yourself because you think because they tell you this person is independent or this person just dropped this hit and it went viral, and you start pulling up this person rap sheet. They've been rapping 10 years. They not even independent. They been releasing music. They selling you a dream. They telling you this person is this such and such in the streets. And then come to find out this person working with the police. But it's to deceive you.
Oh, they've been married for years.
Right.
But they telling you, I'll treat her like this.
Yeah.
Get this one, get that one, but
Tell you to tell your man to the left, but when they man cheat, they stay with him.
you get your Snoop Dogs, your Ice Cubes,
Right.
Jeezy, all these guys married. But the type of music or the entertainment that they give to you, man, it's a falsehood. And our people see it. Remember, we don't control these airwaves. The music that come on the radio, we don't control it, but we're influenced by it. We don't control the drug game.
Right.
But we're influenced by it. You look at crack, that got put in our communities. But since we don't have no structure, we was on Clubhouse the other night and the sister said something like, since we became disobedient to the Lord, we basically cleave to anything. So when things get dropped on us like crack, we take that stuff and run. Oh, I can make a come up off this. The hell with my people. It's the hopes of a man void of understanding. This is why we operate now like this as a people.
The homeboy you grew up with, played ball with, you serving crack to that man mama. That's like your mama. That literally is, forget looking at her like your mama. That is your mama.
Right.
But they lead you down that path to destruction now for what? Dollars. And just to go back to that music thing, our brothers have our own women in their videos, half naked or naked, shaking their behind, but then go marry another sister from another nation. Like, you will destroy your woman, and once the damage done, you will go say, oh, all women hard-headed. They loud-mouthed. They don't want to listen. That's why I married a white woman.
Right.
But you will put your woman in your video, shaking her behind, exploiting her, because everybody gonna say, man, you see the such and such video? They got a bad mama jump in there. But then when it's time for you to get married, you go to the other nations because their women in order. They women have structure. But you contribute to the own demise of your own sister.
Detriment to your own people. That's what's crazy. And we don't control these things. We don't control the radio. Like I said, but we're influenced by it.
Right.
These things are pushed to us. Gangster rap, that is pushed to us. That drug rap is pushed to us. Rap wasn't like that at first. It changed to that. Rap was as a form of empowerment. We were empowering our people behind words. No. Any type of building we have as a people, when it could really lead to us getting back to some structure, it's immediately taken away. Right. It's immediately profaned. So when you look at the type of music that surround us as a people, it's only to our demise. Well, who pushing it? When did we come together as a people and say, all right, it's okay that we play this music on the radio about us? You turn to another radio station that these other nations have their music on, you ain't gonna hear none of that music about them killing each other. No. But this stuff is an influence to how we deal with one another.
They singing about good times.
Right.
Got a barbecue stain in my white t-shirt.
So, man, we gonna be like, no, this ain't good for us. Right. This bothering with people's minds. This the type of way we gotta begin to think. And watch the pushback you get just off trying to build up your people the right way. Let's try to put forth these laws that we see that the Lord set up for us. Watch the pushback you get. Remember, the Lord said, they hate you. No, they hated me first. Read verse 13 again.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 13. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen.
Right, so we see all these things that our people chase after, to follow after this way of the heathen, to see what they can obtain in this wicked kingdom. This is how our way of thinking is destroyed. We don't see reality no more. We only see the glitz and the glamour. That's why we started off talking about that American dream. That's what's put before us to chase. So since that's before us, we're not thinking about no type of righteous justice or right judgment or any type of correction. No, we only looking at what we can get. And this was destroying us. Hold this, go to Ecclesiasticus 20 and 29.
The book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 20 and verse 29. Presents and gifts blind the eyes of the wise.
So this is what we have now. You have men that's supposed to be wise. And this is what we see when we at camp all the time. You see all these men walking by some embarrassing thing. You see these men supposed to be strong. You see these elderly men, they're supposed to be men of wisdom. But they walking by you. You know the words that you speaking, you know your people supposed to hear it. It's like you crying out. Your people supposed to hear it. They supposed to want to know what it's about. But to see these men walk by, they walk by with their heads hanging down. That's how they walk by. But when these type of presents and gifts put before them heads up. When the government talking about some type of money they going to give our people, everybody trying to get it. Everybody uplifted. So we see the scripture say, presents and gifts blind the eyes of the wise. This is what's hurting us as a people. These things that we chasing after to do after the manner of the heathen. This is blinding us as a people. Keep going.
And stop up the mouth that he cannot reprove.
These things stop up the mouth. What's this showing you how they dealing with you as a people? What's this showing you how they dealing with you as a man? And again, you a pacifier. They putting a pacifier in your mouth and telling you to shut up. Same way you see how when LeBron decided to speak up, they told him shut up and dribble. You don't just shut up and play basketball. You take the money we giving you for that. You able to get good money, but you still that same slave. So it's showing you these things stop up the mouth that you're not able to reprove. You don't have the mindset to be able to correct nothing. You don't have the mindset to be able to see what's right for your people. Because you too consumed by the presence and the gifts that's put before you. The lifestyle of the glitz and the glamour.
That's why the Lord didn't say that he cannot speak. Because you talking and you speaking, but you ain't reproving. You ain't putting forth correction. You will speak on every act. Yeah, that's wrong. And man, they shouldn't do us like this. And man, we know how they done us. But when it comes to reproof, man, I just live my life how I live it.
The solution?
I don't judge. Yeah, right. Like we see, like you say, like we see all the time at camp. Hey, bro, how you feel about that? Man, everybody got to do their own thing. But you going back to a Lexus or Mercedes, you good. Let you tell it. But when we read earlier, like you put on, when we first started off, it's not about that. This way is not profitable unto all men. Like the scriptures say, you supposed to look, each person is supposed to not only look towards his own thing, but to his brother. But right. You so concerned about yourself, your brother getting killed. Man, what they say, man, unity.
Right. And that show you right there, we don't have, that mindset alone is tearing us up.
Mm-hmm.
But just like we started off reading, what a community is that social unit. The root word of unity is unit. We don't have that. But everybody would come and say what they think. But like we're saying, when it's actually time to reprove, when it's actually time to set forth solution, when it's time to come together and have a council, be like, look, this is what we're going to, don't nobody want to do nothing. Because don't nobody want that responsibility. Because you used to being given a pacifier and being rocked in the cradle. Mm-hmm. That's what our people used to. Go back to the first Maccabees and read verse 14.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 14. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen.
Right, so they built a place of exercise according to the customs of the heathen.
In your land.
When you look up the Greeks and how they had a gymnasium, they worked out naked. But this is what they built. They built this to work out naked, to do after the customs of the heathen. You look at a lot of these sports. You look at the clothing. You look at how they work out football players at the combine. Having on something tight like that, like the stuff that they wear, if you stand behind something and see the silhouette, you would think they were naked because you can't see clothing. Mm-hmm. So it's showing that form of nakedness. Mm-hmm. Same way with the wrestling. Mm-hmm. How the Greeks did that. Naked. Same thing, you look at how they put them in the little tight outfit now. It's still after the customs of the heathen. But these the things our people sought after. Right. Because they can, they, by following after the ways of the heathen, like even in their Olympics and things like that, you read about that in the book of Maccabees. How they played the game of discus. Even with the gladiators, it was a type of glory that they can receive from these things. They can be looked at as like an idol. So this is what's making our people follow after the heathen. This was making it seem, this was making them look at it as they pleased to do this. Man, look how much glory. You telling me I could be a football player and everybody know me. Yep. I could be a basketball player and everybody know me. But for me to do this, I got to put away all the structure and order. I got to put away my culture. I got to be able to throw everything away to be able to get this glory of these heathen, to follow after their way. That's what you see happening. Read verse 14 again.
Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen.
Right, so they did these things according to the manner of the other people. Even when you see how we hate each other in the places where we at as a people. You see how so much hate amongst us. This is after the manner of the heathen. Who you think taught us to hate each other like that? We didn't always deal with each other like that. Who you think we saw killing us all the time? Who you think continually show us that our lives are nothing? Why you think we always see on TV? It's easy to cut on the TV and see one of our people getting killed. On the news, these things are easy. Why do you think they show you that stuff like that? They want you to know that you really don't matter. But our people took it and we deal with each other like that. Because we not that social unit. We don't have that mindset of a community or as a nation. So we do after the manner of the heathen. You want to say something?
Yeah, because that hatred that you speak about, it made me think about how it carried over into sports. When the last time Michael Jordan played against Isaiah Thomas? But to this day, they still got hatred for each other all over. Now, both of these brothers have been able to take care of their family and go on to be successful in this world, so to speak, in this system, in this setup. But these brothers still have hatred for each other because of a game. When they should be looking at, man, we came out the projects, right. We came out the hood. They should be working together. But every time you see them in an interview and they ask a question about the other one, they get tired. Man, next question. I ain't got nothing to say about Jordan. Jordan, what you think about Isaiah Thomas, man? Next question. I don't want to talk about that. Crazy. That's madness.
Yeah. And because we don't have that mindset as a community. It's like Jordan's worried about his shoes, man. Jordan don't care. Jordan got his championship. Jordan got his shoes. They making their money. But you look at all our people making this money, nobody has the mindset of what we're talking about as a community. Nobody has a mindset to build on what we had, to get back to what we had and what worked.
Right.
And kept us safe as a people. And nobody wants to go back from us when we were tight. And how they operate, what they can take in. Read verse 15.
Verse 15. And made themselves uncircumcised.
And it said they made themselves uncircumcised. Meaning they put away their customs and followed after the manner of the heathen. That's how they made themselves uncircumcised. Keep going.
And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant.
We forsook the holy covenant. The covenant that was given to us. This what our community would fall in. This covenant. We forsook that. So we threw away our structure as a people. We threw away our community. We threw away the way we were built. Keep going.
And joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief.
Man, we joined ourselves to the heathen. And we were just sold to do evil. All because of the things we think we can obtain. Just like you see in Mark 8. It said, shall you gain the whole world just to lose your soul? That's what you see happening with our people.
Bro, this just hit me. This was around 137 BC. It's 2021, and we still joined to the heathen. Now, people say, man, Christ walked the earth over 2,000 years ago. This is 137 years before the Lord was born. And you already seeing our people being joined to the heathen. Think about all the stuff that happened up until this point. And you still got prophets telling people to this day to do something that you supposed to have been doing, and even back then. It shows you, like you say, you can't have a community. There's no way to have a community, and you can read back in history and still see your people suffering
the same way.
The same way.
The same way and in the same structure. That's why I said the Bible don't need nobody to validate it. It validates itself. This is how we're going to be able to look at ourselves. This is the mirror. It's showing us, look, you was doing this. Look, you still doing the same thing now. So you ain't learned yet. It's best that you look at this and go back to that old way. Go back to what kept that evil from you. So what we need to do is we need to forsake the heathen now. We need to go back to the Holy Covenant.
Right.
We need to go back to our bill, our community. What profited us? Because as we keep going, you're going to see the same struggle from then, like bro was saying, 2,000 and some years later. You're going to see the same thing. That's how you can see how much of a hard-headed people we've been. But most importantly, you see that love that the Lord got for us to be able to have mercy for us and not allow us to be completely wiped off.
Right.
Read verse 20.
20.
Yeah, 20.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 20. And after that, Antiochus had smitten Egypt, he returned again in the 143rd year and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude.
So now remember, this is a king of the Greeks, King Antiochus. So we know the Greeks, we know what type of people they are. We know what ethnicity they are. We know how these Greeks look. Because when you look at the empire that's ruling today, America, it's an extension of that Greco-Roman Empire. So this same king, Antiochus, would look as the same people who's ruling over us or the same people who've enslaved us today. So we see he conquered, he took Egypt. Then it says he went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude. So now, remember, we chose to follow after them. You have our people saying, let's go make a covenant with the heathen. We see these same heathen now coming against you. Read the next verse.
Verse 21. And entered proudly into the sanctuary and took away the golden altar and the candlestick of light and all the vessels thereof.
Now remember when we was talking about the things that make up a community, two things we saw was things that we value and we saw customs. So you look at the things now that he's taken. He's saying, and entered proudly into the sanctuary and took away the golden altar. These things are represent value unto us as a people. The candlestick of light. All the vessels thereof. This is a part of our customs, the candlesticks. Represent the Lord. But these things, this is a part of our culture. He's taking it. Keep going.
Verse 22. And the table of the showbread, and the pouring vessels, and the vigils, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crowns, and the golden ornaments, that were before the temple, all which he pulled off.
So these things would be in the temple. When you look at our history, us as a people, that was a part of our community, that temple, because we had certain orders that we had to put forth within the temple. We had a certain structure that everything in the temple had to be put on a certain structure. So these things would make up our community. This was a part of us as a people. But we see him coming in, taking it, destroying it.
Bro, that's how the Lord showed us in Ezekiel 16 about how he married the woman and decked them out. Yep. Like we were saying earlier about the body, the temple. The Lord showed us that exact same way and how we follow after him, how we be majestic, beautiful, decked out.
Perfection.
Right.
That's what that temple represented. Everything had to be to its commanded order in the temple. Everything is in its perfection in the temple. No blemish can enter into the temple. But he's coming in and he's destroying these things. So that temple will represent order. But this is a value to us. So this would make up our community. Go to Exodus 31. And start at verse 1.
The book of Exodus, chapter 31 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, See, I have called by name Bezalel, the son of Uriah, and the son of and of the tribe of Judah.
Keep going.
And I have filled him with the Spirit of God, in wisdom and in understanding, and in knowledge, and in all manner of workmanship.
Right, so the Lord had filled him with wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, and all manner of workmanship. Keep going.
Verse 4. To devise cunning works, to work in gold and in silver and in brass.
Right, so he's giving them knowledge on how to deal with certain elements. Keep going.
And in cutting of stones to set them, and in carving of timber, to work in all manner of workmanship.
Keep going.
And I behold, I have given with him Aholiab, the son of Ahishmaach of the tribe of Dan. And in the hearts of all that are wise hearted, I have put wisdom, that they may make all that I have commanded thee.
So the Lord gave our people this wisdom to make these things that he's commanding them. So you see our people with this knowledge, and they're making these things that would make up our community, or that's a great value to us. Keep going.
Verse 7. The tabernacle of the congregation, and the ark of the testimony, and the mercy seat that is thereupon, and all the furniture of the tabernacle.
Right. All these things, these are things that's very valuable to us. But you see our people making them. These are the things you see being destroyed that we read in First Maccabees. A part of our community, part of our livelihood, a part of our culture, our values being taken away. Keep going.
And the table and his furniture, and the pure candlestick with all his furniture, and the altar of incense.
Keep going.
And the altar of burnt offering with all his furniture, and the laver and his foot.
Keep going.
And the clothes of service, and the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments of his sons to minister in the priest's office. Verse 11. And the anointing oil and the sweet incense for the holy place. According to all that I have commanded, these shall they do.
Right, so all these things, these are the type of things that was in the temple. You had different type of woods carved out. You had things overlaid with gold. Everything was set to the commandment or the order, or to put forth a certain meaning or understanding that the Lord wanted to show us. But we see that we read in First Maccabees, they coming in Jerusalem, they destroying these things. They coming in our land. So it's showing you they coming in our community. They coming in our livelihood, and they taking away our values. It's the same thing you can see how we were dealt with when they came and got us from the western parts of Africa. It's the same way you see they dealt with us when they came here to this land when our people were here first. And they take everything that's valuable, everything that's valuable to you, everything that you have set up, they take it and they destroy it. Go back to First Maccabees. And read verse
22 again or 23?
23.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 23. He took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels.
And the precious vessels. All these things. We see our people made these things. Our people had understanding of these things, how they're supposed to go in the temple. These are our values. Once again, these make up our community. Keep going.
Also, he took the hidden treasures which he found.
Right, hidden treasures. We had it's just showing you the high value of things that we once had as a people.
Right. We
don't have knowledge of these things now because we see these things even then they would come in and destroy them. So today it's all been stolen. The understanding is hidden from us.
The Lord show you this by what? By you paying to go to museums. You think the so-called white man went and paid for these relics? This stuff belonged to us. The same stuff you see over there in the Vatican and all these wealthy Europeans and all the things that they have in their great mansions. These things that's one of one. They stole it. This our stuff. This how they have a value of a painting that's 2,000-3,000 years old and it's worth $1.7 billion. Right. That stuff belongs to all us as a nation.
How they get all the gold.
Right. But they took this stuff and put it in his house. The something that belongs that was in your temple, they got it in a cathedral.
Right. It's just like what Killmonger say on Black Panther. When he was in the museum.
Yeah.
Like, no, these my people.
He said you ain't paid for it.
Right. If it's I should just be able to come get it. It's mine.
Right.
But this how they just bamboozled us. Like you said, you paid to go see stuff that they took from you. It don't make sense. And our people, we're not taught the understanding behind these things. Like we're not shown the whole truth behind these things. Right. But all praise, we can read it. We can see the things that was took from us. We can see the way our people was dealt with. And we can understand spiritually how we still dealt with today. It shows us what we're going through. Read the next verse.
Verse 24. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre, and spoke very proudly.
And that's how they do. Every time they come, they destroy us, they go to their own, speak very proudly.
See, it's even a famous saying, I came, I saw, and I conquered.
Who else operate like this? There's only one people that operate like this. To this day, these people still operate like this. Not only that, the people they doing this to still operate the same way too. Go down to verse 29.
Verse 29. And after 2 years, fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude.
All right, so he sent his collectors of tribute, showing how they would put a tax on the people. Even today, we see the same thing going. We was just talking about property tax. Like, how you make me pay to own something? This is what you can never really own nothing. It's a continual fee that you got to pay every year if you want to buy that. You got to be able to pay this. If you want to buy a house, well, you got to be able to pay this. This is a fee that we going to give you. This is the same tax. The collectors of tribute. It's the same thing. The same way this kingdom is set up now, it's the exact same way the kingdom is set up that we're reading about. Keep reading.
Verse 30. And spake peaceable words unto them.
So when they come, they will speak peaceable words. This the exact same way we dealt with. You think about how all these politicians come. They tell you about all the things. Oh, if you vote for me, I'm going to do this. I'm going to cut this tax. I'm going to cut that tax. So they speak with peaceable words to you. But it's only to your destruction. That's why we went over how the Lord said, don't make no covenants with them. It's for your good. Never trust them.
Never.
It's for your good. Go to Psalms 55 and 21. So we see they will come and they speak peaceable words. Our people are deceived by this every 4 years or every year when you go to vote, when you taken by the sweet words.
The book of Psalms, chapter 55 and verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart.
The whole time, war is in his heart. The whole time his plan is only how he can destroy you. How he can deceive you so you can take down your guard so he can destroy you. Your guard would never be down if you would have never trusted him. Your guard would never be down if you wouldn't make a covenant with him. Keep going.
His word was softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords.
The whole time he's shaking your hand, speaking good words, but he got his hand on his gun behind his back. That's what the scripture's showing you. This is why it tells us never trust them. Go back to 1 Maccabees. Read verse 30 again.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 30. And spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. For when they had given him credence.
So it said, for when they had given him credence. Think about what we just read about how they came into our land. How they went in our temple. How they took our treasures. They took our value. Think about that. And now we get down and said, we see how they speak in peaceable words, and they said they gave him credence. And look up the definition of credence and read that. This how you know this is this how you're able to see who these same people are today. Because for them to bring all this terror to you, and you able to let him come and just speak peaceable words and you give him credence, it show you the same thing is still going on today. Read that.
Credence. 1. Belief in or acceptance of something as true.
That's what it's showing you. Read the similar words.
Acceptance. Belief. Faith.
Faith. It's showing you they had faith in their enemy. He just did all this. Came in and did this to your temple. Brought confusion in your land. Took all your values. Destroyed your community. And you telling me that same person can do all of that? It's the same way we see how people were destroyed in slavery. It's the same way how we see how people still being destroyed to this day. How people do all this stuff marching for rights, Black Lives Matter. You see this thing happen with Asian people, they get a bill passed. You? Hell no. But you can see all this destruction, but you still have faith in them. How can you say this not you? This our people. For all this destruction to come and you still put faith in them? You still trust in that system? You still trust in that structure? That king? That president? Go to Lamentations chapter 4. You already know that,
The book of Lamentations, chapter 4, and verse 17. As for us, the Israelites, you so-called blacks and Hispanics, whose fathers are of Negro and Indian descent, we are the people that the Bible is talking about. We are the people who these things relate to.
we are the people who still suffering these same things to this day. So it says, as for us, keep going.
Our eyes have yet failed.
Our eyes have yet failed. Why? Because we see all the destruction, and yet we give them credence. Yet we put faith in them. You understand how much that hurts us as a people? Like we went over in Sirach 20, your mouth is stopped so you can't reprove. That's why you, through all of this, you still have faith in them. That's unbelievable. So if we read this and we can see that, you would look like these people would be crazy. But you can't make this stuff up. We still see it today. This is how you know the Bible is a true book. That same spirit is still on us as a people. Same way you see in Deuteronomy 28, I'm going to give them that fear, that trembling of heart. It's that same mindset that's still on our people. Why? Because we broke away from what kept us safe. So now you putting your faith in your destruction. Keep reading that.
As for us, our eyes have yet failed for our vain help.
For your vain help. A help that ain't help. Keep going.
In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
Right. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. So we putting faith in the people that just won't profit us. Instead, we put faith in them. They come out, they give their smooth speeches. You have faith in them, so you go vote. You show your faith. You're willing to do. We need to put that same faith in the Lord, be willing to do what he said. Because you putting all this faith in them, and they continually stabbing you in. They ain't even stabbing you in the back. They're stabbing you in the front. You see it. But you allowing yourself to be deceived. Read the next verse.
I just want to elaborate. You know, the Lord didn't put an S on the end of nations. You don't look to the Africans to save you. You don't look to the Japanese to save you. You don't look to the Chinaman to save you. You don't look to no other nation upon this earth. You don't look to the Hawaiians or none of them to save you. When it comes for our people to look for deliverance, you look to one group of people. The Lord knows his people, boy. He didn't say, the nations that cannot save you. The Lord know when it comes time for deliverance, you turn to John Smith.
Still turning to the Greeks.
Right. You turn to Joseph Smith. You turn to John Doe. You turn to one man and be like, hey, Mr. White Man, save us from oppression.
Yep. You go to every outlet that he has set up.
Yep.
The same way how we was talking about when our people had these stop the violence things or these community outreach things. You go to every outlet that he has to try to help your people. That's not really help. You can't, this system, we see this system is what's hurting us. It's not a community for us. It's an enslavement for us. So we need to go back to what was a community for us. Because we see how they can destroy us.
Right.
But for us to still put that faith in them, it's unacceptable. Read the next verse.
Verse 18. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets.
That's what we see now. Same way you see in Deuteronomy 28. You should have none assurance of your life. You don't know if you're gonna make it back. Scriptures let you know they hunt your steps. The same way we see in First Maccabees, them bringing forth that destruction because we put trust in them anyway. But to still have faith in them afterwards, like they can bring forth some type of help or a betterment of life for you, that's unbelievable. You can finish it.
They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near, our days are fulfilled, for our end is come.
Right, our end is come because we left what was peaceable for us. That's why our end is come. Our end is come because we separated from the Lord and we sought the heathen. We sought death, or we sought our enemy. Go back to First Maccabees.
You want 30 again or 31?
Yeah, read verse 30 again.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 30. And spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city.
So once they put faith in him, he fell suddenly upon the city. Just like our people put faith in all these presidents.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they think a president gonna help them. They thought Obama was gonna help them. What did he do? We were still getting shot down in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
They thought Clinton was gonna help them. Wait, you see how many people got locked up when Clinton was president? You see Reagan president. Look how much drugs was put in the streets. None of these people is helping us, but every 4 years, our people don't understand. When you voting, it's not, you think they care about who you picking? No. But when you vote, you show your faith. Mm-hmm. You vote, you still showing your credence. When you vote, you still showing that you being deceived. When you vote, you still showing that I don't care how much you destroy me, I'm still a part of your system. That's what voting is about. Because no matter what they can do to you, you still showing your obedience to this man. That's what matters with the vote. That's what he can track by the vote. The faith that you got in him and not in the Lord. As much as you continue to vote, as much as he know he can continue to rule. Mm-hmm. Because the more you vote for him, you cannot be following the Lord. That's what these people know. That's why you got to understand this system is set up on a high level of wickedness. This is high level evil the way this is set up. But since our mind is on everything other than what matters, they'll never see it. They just continue to die. Read the next verse. Oh no, finish that verse.
He fell suddenly upon the city, and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel.
And destroyed much people of Israel. When do we get tired of seeing our people destroyed? When do we want to stand up for one another? When do we want to stand up for our values, our identity? Because in his community, we don't have no identity. We just black. Even though nobody's actually black, but we're just black. We don't have nothing in his community. We don't have peace in his community. In his forced community or controlled community. So when are we going to seek ours? Read the next verse.
Verse 31, and when he had taken the spoils of the city.
So they come in, they fall upon us. So he take the spoils of the city. So they rape and rob us. They take everything. Keep going.
He set it on fire.
Where else do we see this stuff happening? Who deal with people like this? You look at Black Wall Street. You look at the gym. What was it? Was it in Philadelphia?
Yeah, the movement.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is it Puerto Rico the same way?
Yeah. They do these things, set it on fire. They bomb it. It's the same way you see them dealing with us in the scriptures. It's the exact same people still dealing with the exact same people the same way. They come in, they take your stuff. All right, let's burn it. You see how the KKK was dealing with our people? Oh yeah, let's go in, let's burn all this stuff down. It's the same thing. It's the same destruction. Why? Because we made a covenant with the heathen. Because we chose to seek after them and leave our community. You want to bring something?
I just want to read Psalms 137 right quick.
All right.
The book of Psalms, chapter 137 and verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. Verse 8. O daughter of Babylon, who ought to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. So it just go back to what you were saying. He can't. Verse 31 in the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1. And he had taken the spoil of the city, he set it on fire, and poured down the houses and walls thereof of every side. That's what it was saying in Psalms 137, that raise it, destroy it. The Lord showing you it's the same people with that same characteristic. Because when you read in Psalm 137, it say, oh, Edom. When you read in this right now, it's the time of the Greeks. But it still come from who? The nation of Edom. The Lord showing you the same people of those characteristics. Just like you can read and see our characteristics of how we be disobedient. The Lord showing you their characteristics too. Just like you said with the KKK, with Oklahoma City bombing. Not Oklahoma City bombing. Tulsa, Oklahoma. The same thing they did in Puerto Rico. Rosewood.
The movement in Philadelphia.
Yep.
They deal with us the same way. They come in, destroy, they take the spoils, and they set our stuff on fire. They've always dealt with us like this, and to this day, they continually dealing with us like this.
Even in Alabama, what is it, the Birmingham City bombing?
Yep, the church.
Yep. When they locked them girls up.
And
down.
now that's like what is it? A sightseeing type.
Yeah.
Like some people to come see. This is your destruction. Now the church is set up now like a museum. People come see it, taking pictures in front of it. This don't make no sense. Because they still have faith in this system. So they're able to overlook these things. They're not able to reprove. Man. Read verse 32.
Verse 32. But the women and children took they captive and possessed the cattle.
That's what happens. They come in, they do all this, they take your women, they take your children. We see these same things in slavery. You can't make this up. This is how they this is how they deal with us as a people. Yep, they're still doing the same things today. And we still just bypass it. Nobody want to stand up.
Take the black man, tie his hands behind his back, take your woman and your children, get them tea, get them wick, get them all these gifts that you talked about earlier that destroy them. Yep. And the black woman not going to reproach them because the white man giving her gifts.
She can't reprove.
That's what I meant. Sorry about that.
You know, that jam. Man, it's crazy. Just to understand how identical this is to us as a people. Like, it would be foolish for us to ignore such great history that we can read and take hold to and see where we went wrong. It's foolish of us to hear it and ignore it. Go down to verse... Read verse 40.
Verse 40. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning.
So everything that was good about us, everything that we had that was a part of our community, our values, our customs, it's showing you these things was turned into mourning. They were no longer joyful to us. Read the next verse.
Verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. So now after they do this, now after the takeover, now they set up things how they want to set it up. Same way we see how we was destroyed in slavery, and it gets to a certain point, now they want to put the plan in motion. Same thing you see with Antiochus. Now he put out his decree, okay, all should be one people now. We done took down their land, we done took their women, their cattle, we done took the things of their city spoiled. Now, let's all be one people. Keep going. Verse 42, and everyone should leave his laws.
Everyone should leave his laws. Showing you people will have their own way. But it's showing these people are coming together and they're making an agreement that everybody going to be one and we're going to operate according to one set of laws. Remember, for them to come together like this is not like we're going to have a spokesperson there. To this day, when they come together on things like this, we don't have a spokesperson. We just have it given to us. And it's either get down or lay down. But when they come together amongst each other on how they are going to put forth a plan, not including us in it. Go to Psalms 83. Let's start at verse 1.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 1. Keep not thou silent, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. Verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
So our enemies coming together. Keep going.
Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones.
Right, so it's showing when they come together in these manners that they come together, and when they having their meetings, when they having these councils amongst different ruling nations, it's showing that they come together for crafty counsel. They come together for plans against us. Because nobody speaks up. We don't have nobody to speak up for us. And we the ones that's supposed to be ruling everything. But everybody is taking crafty counsel against us. That's what you see when we read in First Maccabees. Go back to First Maccabees. I might come back to that. Read verse 42 again.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 42. And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
Right, so it's showing all the heathen agreed on this. This is the reason why we went to, we're going to go right back there. Psalms 83. So all the heathen, they come together and they agree on these things. Not us. Keep going.
Excuse me. Verse 43. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath.
So it's showing these still them wicked Israelites who had that faith. They had that faith in their system. They had their faith in their setup or their structure. No matter all the destruction, they don't care about the destruction that they saw, but many of the Israelites, our people, and it's due to fear. It's due to fear. It's not having that manhood, not knowing how to be a man, that you're able to bypass those things and still follow them. That's the fear. And the Lord, he never dealt with us like that. He never gave us laws set according to fear. He just told us how to operate. And that's when you look back in our history, you see righteous men, you see them stand on it to death. But you see it said how they profane the Sabbath. Going back to a community, things that make up a community, the Sabbath was very, all praise, the Sabbath is very important in our community. It's a very important part of our structure. It's a very important law. It's a very important custom amongst us as a people. It's something of high value. But you see them profaning it. They're profaning something, showing you they disregard something that was a part of our culture. Go to back to Exodus 31. And start at verse. Right to the point. Read verse 13.
The book of Exodus, chapter 31 and verse 13. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and
Exodus 31 and 13.
My bad, I'm at 32. The book of Exodus, chapter 31 and verse 13. Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily, my Sabbaths ye shall keep.
Right, we see the Lord instructing us. He said, my Sabbaths ye shall keep. This is something he's giving us. Keep going.
For it is a sign between me and you.
This is a sign between us and the Lord. All praise. Keep going.
Throughout your generation.
This is something that's supposed to always been kept. Like I said, this is a high value to our community. This is a great custom amongst us as a people. But we see our people profaning it. To this day, we see it profane. Keep going.
For it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you.
All right, keep going.
Verse 14, ye shall keep the Sabbath therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defile it shall surely be put to death.
So we supposed to keep the Sabbath. It's holy unto us. Meaning this is a set apart day, a day of high reverence unto us. Scriptures letting us know everyone that defile this day shall be put to death. That's how high this day is represented in our community. But everyone that defiles it shall be put to death. So this is why you can see that more destruction will come to us as a people, even as we read in First Maccabees, because we see our people profaning this holy day set by the Lord. You can finish that verse.
I am the Lord that does sanctify you. Verse 14. Ye shall keep the Sabbath therefore, for it is holy unto you. Every one that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people.
Right. Go back to First Maccabees. So we see in verse 43 it said, yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religions and sacrificed unto idols. Keep that in mind, how people sacrifice unto idols. How they consented to follow after everybody coming together and following after the way of the heathen. What you was going to say?
It's just showing that you set up another God for you to break the Sabbath. That's why I tied all in together. Sacrifice unto idols and profane the Sabbath. It's showing you that you set something up to be your head. Like you say, you trust in it. Because the same way the Lord spoke in Exodus 31, he even used the same verse in 13. Verily. Who you see speaking like that in the New Testament? Christ. Verily I say unto you. Verily. Sometimes he said twice. Verily, verily. The Lord used that terminology over and over and over in the New Testament. He's still speaking throughout the volume of the book.
Right.
So not to adhere to that, it's showing you that you sacrifice it to something else because the Lord never gave you that.
Right. Read verse 43 again. Verse 44.
Verse 43. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. Verse 44. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
Right, so it's showing you that same process and how they pass laws. That same process of when they pass laws and how they give them to the people. The same way how on July 1st, we know what laws come out.
Right.
New laws are passed. It's the same thing. So we see Antiochus, he set this up. How everybody should be one people. Everybody gonna put away their customs. This is what the heathen come together on, because you know they all serve idols anyway. But this is all to our detriment. This is all to our downfall. It said that they should follow the strange laws of the land. Keep reading.
Verse 45. And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days.
Right, going right back into things that made up our community. This going into our customs. When you see about burnt offerings, sacrifice, drink offerings, these things took place in the temple. These things were of great value to us because they taught us of the Lord to come. So these were very big parts of our community. You see again, profaning the Sabbath days and festival days. So it's showing that now we would put aside our days. And for us to all be one people, we would take on the days of the heathen. Same thing we've done now. Same way how people will celebrate Juneteenth. It shows the deception. You turn right around, now you're ready to celebrate 4th of July. You're going to celebrate Christmas. You're going to celebrate Thanksgiving. You're going to celebrate a false New Year. You're going to celebrate Valentine's Day. You can celebrate Halloween. Every day that they've given you, that you've accepted as being a part of their community or as being one people, because the same way Antiochus put this forth as all people being one people, where do you think America get it from? How everybody could come be an American. We see, this is why even how this kingdom is like an extension of Babylon also. You see Nebuchadnezzar, he did the same thing. How he would put forth a decree for everybody to come worship the idol at a certain time. So he set forth a day for you to give reverence to. It's the same thing. You see the same spirit behind each kingdoms. But the Bible is showing you it. So the same way everybody can come be an American. Let's all be one. But it's according to the manner of these heathen. That's why all nations come here. Because it's according to that plan, that system that they setting up. Read verse 45 again.
Verse 45. And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days.
Right, and festival days. So like we were showing that, now you think about every day you got, why you celebrate it?
Mm-hmm.
Where did it come from? What does it mean to us? Do we even have any meaning to us? Is it for our good? No. It's the same way you read, let me see, the second Maccabees 6,
About,
the Bacchus.
yeah, I think so. About Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
The Bacchus Festival.
Alright, there it goes. Start at let me be quick.
Remember, they can always go back and rewind.
Hey, yeah, you're right. Read verse 1.
The book of Second Maccabees, chapter 6 and verse 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers, and not to...
Yeah, read verse 1 again.
The book of Second Maccabees, chapter 6 and verse 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers, and not to live after the laws of God.
Right, so this what they wanted us to not live after the laws of our God. This is the same thing you see happening in First Maccabees 1. With them sending forth letters telling the Jews they got to follow after the strange laws of the land. Same thing you see going on now, even with how they promote certain laws dealing with marriage and stuff like that. You know, it's to take us away from what we're supposed to follow. And we're going to touch on why they do that. Read the next verse.
Verse 2. And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem.
Right, remember we read about Antiochus coming in and polluting the temple. But they putting forth like to teach us to pollute the temple, to tell us to do that, to put away our customs. Keep going.
And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter, Olympus, and that in Garzum of Jupiter, the defender of strangers. And they did desire that dwelt in the place.
Right. So it's showing you they took our things, the same way we read in First Maccabees 1, and how they made us to sacrifice unto idols. This is what you see happening here. To put the names of these false gods as the defender of the strangers. Nothing has never helped the other nations against our God.
Right.
Nothing has ever stopped our God from destroying them. Jump down. Just jump to verse 7.
Verse 7. And in the day of the king's birth every month, they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in processing to Bacchus, carrying ivy.
Right. This is another way how they made us to sacrifice unto idols. They set up days. And these days is showing they made it so we were compelled to come celebrate this too. How else you think we celebrate days like Christmas, Thanksgiving? We were made to follow these things. Right. We were forced to follow these things. And our people, since we were taken away from what we had as a community, that's something else that was just forced upon us. So over time, with us forgetting ourselves, we took their way, and we took it as ours. And this has been our downfall. This has been our destruction as a people. Go back to First Maccabees 1.
46. The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 46. and pollute the sanctuary and holy people.
Right. So with them doing these things, they were polluting us. It's telling you they were polluting the holy people. Keep going.
Verse 47. Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts.
Right, so it's showing you they set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, even similar to the same thing we just read in 2 Maccabees 6. But when you look at all these things, how they setting up all these things, different ways to worship, like with the groves and the chapels of idols, you wonder how, like, just for example, where we at right now, we in Petersburg, it's a small city, but it's like 100 and some churches in this small city. Where does thought come from behind these religions, though, that these churches set up to? We didn't come up with none of this. Christianity wasn't ours. The understanding of that religion wasn't ours, but it was forced upon us in slavery. The same way these things were forced upon our people as we read it. So they would set up all these places of worship. The same way we see all these places of worship set up before our people. It's the same way with them setting up chapels of idols. This is the reason why we have so many churches in our areas where it's mostly our people. Because it's keeping us from our God. That's the point of it. Let's get that in Judith real quick. Judith 5.
Why they sacrifice swine and unclean beasts? They did that deliberately. Because you can read that and be like, oh my God, I can't believe they did God temple like that. Right. But then you turn around and put swine in your temple. It's the exact same thing. It's polluting you.
Yep. Start at verse 17.
17. The book of Judith, chapter 5 and verse 17. And whilst they sin not before their God.
So for us to not sin before our God, it means we keep the order and the structure that he gave us. So when he told us don't make no covenant with the heathen, it means we didn't join ourselves under other nations. We didn't try to hold hands with other people. That's what it means when it says we didn't sin before our God. Keep going.
And prosper, because the God...
Read it again from the top.
Excuse me. And whilst they sin not before their God, they prosper.
Right. It's saying when they didn't do these things, they prospered. They progressed. They excelled as a people. That's so important for us to realize. When we didn't go contrary to how our community was set up, we excelled. Keep going.
Because the God that hated iniquity was with them.
The God that hates unrighteousness, the God that hates evil, he's with us when we do as he say. Keep going.
Verse 18. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them.
But when we decided to make a covenant with the heathen that were around us, when we decided to seek peace with them or seek after their customs or their way, keep going.
They were destroyed in many battles, very sore.
That's our destruction. That's what we're reading about, or that's what we've been going over this entire time. That's what we're reading about in 1 Maccabees. You seeing our destruction because of the bad judgments we make, because of the bad choices we make, because of our disobedience. Keep going.
They were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs.
They was led captive into a land that was not theirs. They were led captive. They were led in bondage. They were taken in slavery into a land that was not theirs. This is what happened to our people when we be disobedient. We would be foolish to not regard this. Like, this makes so much, this is just so much to us as a people. For us to be reading this should mean so much to us. Just like you mentioned in Joshua, how they started losing in battles. We don't know we're not supposed to lose because all we've seen was terror. Right. We taught failure. We taught we can't be perfect, so we taught to fail. We don't know we're not supposed to lose. Our people knew they weren't supposed to lose. Just like you mentioned in Joshua, they started losing in battles. It was because of disobedience. But when you look at the importance of what Joshua did after they got it straight, it just shows you the structure of a community. And we're going to touch on that too. But keep going.
And were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground.
Same thing we read. This is the same thing we read about in First Maccabees. Different times, it's the same thing. But you see the same thing happening with us now because of disobedience. That understanding of our God was taken because of our disobedience. That temple, remember the Lord, he's one greater than the temple. So that understanding of the Lord is separated from us because of our disobedience. Because we choose to make a covenant with these people. You want to say something?
I was just saying that's the same thing you read in Genesis about Adam.
Yep. Same exact thing. Telling us from the beginning. Keep going.
Were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground. And their cities were taken by the enemies.
Jump to verse 20.
Verse 20. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people.
This is how the other nations know how to counsel amongst themselves about us. Keep going.
If there be any error in this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
They know when we operate a certain way, they know it's to our own ruin. That's why they set up nothing but falsehood around us. Because it's for our ruin. If we in ruin, they rule us. Keep going.
And let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
They know they can overtake us. They know they can be able to gather us and enslave us. They know that it can be hundreds of us and about 5 of them on the horse in the field.
Right.
And they know they can still rule over us because they know our strength is our God. But when we disobey them, they know it's our ruin. Keep going.
Why they ain't get praise to their God? Why they ain't say, we going to go up by our God and overthrow them?
Right.
Because they know that God's not real. Right. That's why they say, if these people be in error, then we going to be able to throw them because they God going to allow it. Not we going to show up to them in the power of Satan. We going to show up to them in the power of Caesar Borgia, and we going to be able to overcome them. They like, nah, the only way... Nah, I'll read it.
It's crazy because it's showing you that even they have an understanding of the power of our God. So they, like you said, they ain't try to get a power nowhere else. They know, like, he ain't with them. That's what they doing.
Right.
You keep going.
Verse 21. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by.
But if it be no sin amongst them, if it be no disobedience amongst them, he said, let my Lord pass by. Don't you bother them people. Keep going.
Lest their Lord defend them.
Right, we ain't need no king because we had our Lord to defend us. Our Lord gonna fight in battles with us. Same example you see in the book of Joshua. Lord make fire rain down. Keep going.
And their God be for them. And we become as reproach before all the world.
So they become as a reproach for all the world. The Lord make a statement out of them. The Lord make an example for everybody to look upon. For the whole world, just like the Egyptians.
I was about to say that'd be the second Egypt.
Right.
That junk still on the dirt.
And hey, all praises. That's what's written.
Right.
For them to be the second Egypt, yeah. Hey, go back to First Maccabees.
47 or 48?
48.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 48. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation.
Right, so they bring in all manner of uncleanness amongst us. All the lewdness. Same way, you see it say they should also leave their children uncircumcised. It's a part of our law. Circumcision is a part of our law. It was given to us. So this will also be something that's a part of our culture, our customs, that would make up our community. So they would take that away and say, leave your children uncircumcised. making them what? Unclean according to our law. Read the next verse.
To the end they might forget the law.
That was the purpose of all of it. You look at all the torture, all the destruction, all the terror that was brought upon us as a people. You look at all the lies that's been taught to us. You look at all these false religions that's been given to us. Elder touched on it when we was on Clubhouse last night. How you look at all these religions, like Baptists, the Mormons, Seventh-day Adventists, Pentecostal, Jehovah's Witness. All these religions were originated by people who enslaved us. They of them people. But the purpose of it was for us to forget our law. Same thing we read in 2 Maccabees 6. They did these things to put us away from the law of our God. That's the purpose of it. Go back to Psalms 83.
Oh, praise, man. Oh, praise.
And read verse 3 again.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and have consulted against thy hidden ones. Verse 4. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation.
Right, so that's what the crafty counsel is about. Come, let us cut them off from being a nation. We see how they consider things when we just read in the book of Judith, chapter 5. So come, let us cut them off from being a nation. Keep going.
That's their division.
Yep.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Let's take away their customs, their values. Let's take away their community. Keep going.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Right, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Let's take away their identity. Showing you that's how they removing us from our community. Let's take away their identity. Let's give them something else. Because the way the real name of Israel can only be remembered is if we come back to our true understanding, our true nationality. Another people, as we see today, can take hold of it, but it's the remembrance is not there. Because the people who that name represents, they lost.
Right.
They've forgotten it. We'll go back to 1 Maccabees. So it's the same thing we see right here in 1 Maccabees, to the end that they might forget the law. That was the purpose of all this. You look at all the killing, all the lies that's put forth, all the deception. It's to continually separate you from your God. It's to continually separate you from your people. It's to keep a bond that we're supposed to have. It's to keep it broken. Read that verse again.
49.
Yeah.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 49. To the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. Verse 50. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die.
Right, so this is how they forced these things on our people. It was by the sword. So imagine you had a lot of our people that died because of this. Because they didn't want to follow the manner of the heathen. They rather serve their God. So even how you see in verse 49, it said to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. That's what you see that happen. How we forgot our law, but even through the false religions that were given to us, we change all the ordinances. That's what you see heavy with Christianity. You see everything, every law that the Lord has, but in Christianity, these things are changed. Like they're not even there, like they don't stand. This is what keeps us from remembrance of ourselves. Because when they took away, matter of fact, read verse 51.
Verse 51. In the self same manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding that the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city.
Right, so when they commanded to sacrifice, remember that's unto idols. But he set up overseers. Same way we see how they dealt with us in slavery, same way they dealt with us in Egypt, Same way they dealt with us in the time of the Greeks. You set up overseers to make sure they doing this to make sure things is going according to their laws. Same way they handle us today. Keep going.
Verse 52. That many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, everyone that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land.
Right, so now you got our people committing all these evils. Same thing you see now because of a lack of order, because of lack of community. Verse 56.
Verse 56. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law, which they found, they burnt them with fire.
And that's what they did. When they come and they find our books of the law, they tear them up, they burn them with fire. They know when they destroy this, when they can take this understanding from us, you take away everything from us. This is why we don't have a community. Because just like we started off showing how all things are not profitable for all men, well, we had something that was profitable for us. So when they came in and they would take our book of our law, that's like taking our identity. That's taking our hope. That's taking our strength. And they knew this. To this day they knew this. They know this. This is why they try their best with all these religions, with all these different ideologies to continue to deceive us. Because they know the awakening that the Bible speaks of to happen with us as a people, they know it's to their end. Read that verse again.
Verse 56. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law, which they found, they burnt them with fire.
So this book of the law, this is like the highest value of our community. This is the words of the Lord. So
in pieces the books of the law, which they found, they burnt them with fire. Verse 57. And wheresoever was found with any of the books of the testament, or if any consented to the law.
So if anybody was found with any books of the Bible, keep going.
The king's commandment was that they should put him to death.
Right, this is the same thing we see with our people during slavery. They did not want us to read that Bible. You caught reading that Bible, they gonna whip you, kill you, hang you, any of that. Same way, same form of destruction that they put upon our people, even in the time of the Greeks. So we seeing the exact same thing happening this time. We see it still happening to the exact same people, even to this day. We're hiding this book from us. Because, just like I just mentioned, how we started off talking about how all things not profitable for all men. What we had, Lord, all praises, we still have what's profitable to us. Go to Joshua chapter 1.
It's just like the Protestants did with the Protestant Reform.
Yep.
If you was caught, they was the only ones that had the Bible. If you was caught copying it and reading it or teaching it without their authority, they was going to put you to death.
Yep.
And this in recent times, not thousands of years ago.
Showing you the same people.
Yep.
Still dealing the same way.
Fine.
Joshua 1 and verse, start at verse 7.
The book of Joshua, chapter 1 and verse 7. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law, which Moses, my servant, commanded thee.
Right, keep going.
Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left.
So the Lord showing us, don't never turn from this. This was good for us, that we may live. Keep going.
That thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest.
Keep going.
Verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth.
This should never depart from us. Keep going.
But thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. Or then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success.
Right. This is how we're going to have good success. This is how now we're going to be prosperous as a people. How we're going to show forth progress. This is how we're going to get unity. This is how we're going to be joined together in the same mind, in the same judgment. This is how we're going to perfectly be joined together. Is when we don't let this law depart from us, when we meditate on it day in and day out, when we continually talk about the works of the Lord, then we're going to be prosperous. Our people knew this when you read in the Bible. You had righteous men that stood up. You had righteous men that knew that we shouldn't make covenants with the nation. You had righteous men that knew when we build, it was only amongst us as a people. It didn't have nothing to do with other nations. Because allowing them to come in with us, it will only be our downfall. Right. Go to Ezra. Ezra 4. Let me get started verse 1. Try to get through this jam quick.
1.
Yeah.
The book of Ezra, chapter 4 and verse 1. Now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of captivity builded the temple unto the Lord of Israel.
So it's saying the adversaries. So it's showing our enemies coming against us, which would be the other nations. Keep going.
Then they came to Zerubbabel and to the chief of the fathers, and said unto them, Let us build with you, for we seek your God, as ye do, and we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Esarhaddon, king of Assur, which brought us up hither.
So they coming with their smooth words. Same thing we seen happening in the scriptures we went over so far. They come with their smooth words. But the whole time we know is they come with smooth words, but it's war in their hearts for our destruction. Keep going.
But Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chiefs of the fathers of Israel said unto them, ye have nothing to do with us, to build an house unto our God, but we ourselves together will build unto the Lord God of Israel, as King Cyrus, the king of Persia, have commanded us.
Right, but we see our leaders, men that was standing for the law, men that was standing for our holy covenant, telling them, nah, you don't have nothing to do with us and our God. We're going to build ourselves. We're going to build in unity unto our God. He knew not to involve them, because him being that leader knows the manner of the other nations. Read the next verse.
Verse 4. Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them in building.
Right, so it shows their mindset the whole time. They just want to hinder us from coming together. Keep going.
Verse 5. And hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose. All the ways of Cyrus, king of Persia, even until the reign of Darius, king of Persia.
Right, so it says, and hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose. You ever wonder why when we try to come together and do something, we got to do things since we're in captivity according to their policies to try to get certain things passed? What do? They do things to hinder us. They do things to put obstacles before us. Because this system is set to hinder us from coming together. It's set to hinder us from unifying according to our covenant that the Lord gave us. Jump down to, matter of fact, read verse 6.
Verse 6. And in the reign of Ahasuerus, in the beginning of his reign, wrote they unto him an accusation against the inhabitants of Judah and Jerusalem.
So now they're going to try to bring false accusations against us. They try to do anything they could to hinder us when we're trying to put forth things for the betterment of our people. Keep going.
And in the days of Artaxerxes, wrote Beshalom, Mithra, Tabel, and the rest of their companions unto Artaxerxes, king of Persia, and to the writing of the letter was written in Syrian tongue, and interpret in the Syrian tongue.
Keep going.
Raham, the channeler, and Shimshai, the scribe, wrote a letter against Jerusalem to Artaxerxes, the king, in this sort.
Right, jump to verse 11.
Verse 11. This is the copy of the letter that they sent unto him, even unto Artaxerxes, the king, thy servant, the men of this side, on this side the river, and at such a time.
Right. So you see now they writing a letter to the king, writing against what our people was doing, writing against the building up of our community, building up our gates.
It's like we be out on the street, somebody call police on
Yo, same thing. Same thing. We ain't doing nothing but trying to better our people, yo. Hey, that time we was on Washington Street across from the liquor store, yo, and the police was like, he came back out there. He was like, man, somebody called the police like 7 times. I was like, man, we've been over here ever since y'all told us to come right here.
Bro, it was like 5 police calls.
Yo, he was like, man, somebody probably just ain't like what y'all was saying and called the police. I was like, yeah. But it's crazy, it's the same thing. They come by, they hear the things we speaking, the building up of our people, most importantly, the separating from them, the separating from other nations, and they call the police on us. They try to frustrate what we doing. They try to make problems for us to hinder us from what we doing. Read verse.
Who's that? 11, you want 12?
Yeah, you can read verse 12. Verse the copy of the letter.
Verse 12. Be it known unto the king that the Jews which came up from thee to us are come unto Jerusalem, building the rebellious and the bad city, and have set up the walls thereof and joined the foundations.
You see how they try to explain it as they writing it? They building up the rebellion. What they say? Building a rebellious and bad city. That's how they describe. It's the same way they describe us now when they talk about us. Everything has to be bad when it comes to us. It's the same thing you see. Same way the other nations dealt with us in the past. Same way they still try to deal with us now.
These thugs out here trying to get their nation together.
Right. Read verse 13.
Verse 13. Be it known now unto the king that if this city be builded and the wall set up again, then will they not pay toll, tribute, and customs. And so thou shalt endamage the revenue of the kings.
Right, so now they trying to show how, man, but if they get to have their own, we gonna lose money. They not gonna do these things. This how it's gonna hurt you, King. So they try to build up a case against us.
Yep.
Keep going.
Bye-bye to your shopping on the Sabbath. Bye-bye to the money you make on Christmas.
Yep.
Bye-bye to your Thanksgiving.
This is why they try to keep us from understanding who we are according to the Bible. They try to keep us from the community that we had set up because of what it takes from them and how it would build us.
14.
Yeah, read verse 14.
Verse 14. Now because we have maintenance from the king's palace, and it was not meet for us to see the king's dishonor, therefore have we sent and certified the king.
Keep going.
Verse 15. That search may be made in the book of the records of thy fathers.
So they want to search about these people. Look up the records that we have on this people. Same thing they do now. When something happens or they want to look at us, they try to look at something in the past. They try to do anything they can to bring up something to hinder us or to make our path rough. Anything to put obstacles before us.
Esau give you more time in jail because of your record.
Right. Keep going.
That search may be made in the book of records of thy fathers. So shalt thou find in the book of the records and know that this city is a rebellious city and hurtful unto kings and providences, and that they have moved sedition within the same of the old time, for which cause was this city destroyed.
If if they were able then to have records and understand things that happen with us as a people, you don't think they don't understand these same things now? It said that this city is a rebellious and hurtful unto kings and provinces. In other words, it's showing how they have a fear of us building up. They have a fear of us coming together. They have a fear of us having our own. That's what he's showing, but he's disguising it and trying to say it in a way to discredit us. Read verse 16.
Verse 16. We certify the king that if this city be builded again and the walls thereof set up, by this means thou shalt have no portion on this side of the river.
So they worried about taking things on that side of the river. They saying, let us assure you, king, if this be builded up, look, you gonna end up losing these portions here. This is how they try to come against us. These are things they consider. Because they have an understanding of us that our people don't see or that our people don't understand. Read verse 17.
Verse 17. Then sent the king an answer unto Rehum the chancellor, and to Shishai the scribe, and to the rest of their companions that dwell in Samaria, and unto the rest beyond the river, peace and at such a time.
Keep going.
The letter which ye sent unto us have been plainly read before me, and I commanded, and search have been made, and it is found that this city of old time have made insurrection against kings, and that rebellion and sedition have been made therein.
Right. This is what they try to avoid. This is what they know. Because they have an understanding of the same thing you see throughout history. Just like, I think you mentioned it when we was at camp, about how any time our people tried to uprise, it was actually because of the Bible. It was because of something they read in the Bible, and they could see the similarity to them. This is why they want to keep this from us. So this is what they know. This is why they want to keep us from uniting according to our covenant that was given to us. They want to keep us from uniting according to our identity that the Lord gave us, which is the Israelites. Not black, not Hispanic, not Indian. We're the Israelites. This is what they want to keep us from because they're afraid of the uprising. They're afraid of the uproar that our community will cause if we come together in righteousness according to how the Lord set up. So they know they're saying these people have made insurrections against kings. These people have made uprisings. So they don't want to see us build. This is why anytime anybody speak, you look at what happened with Nick Cannon when he spoke out. Look how what happened to him so quick. Because they know just by him saying that, they know what it could cause. So they like put it in the dirt quick. Because we do not want to wake these people up. We want to keep them asleep. This is why they try to hide these things. But even when you see back with our forefathers, they knew to separate. They knew to look separate from these people because these people only for our demise. Just let these people look on us how great we are when we do build. That's how they're supposed to see us. But when you look at how we looked on now, we looked at now as just in shame. Because we don't have no type of structure. We don't have no type of order in building. We don't have no community. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 4. One more scripture after this.
Verse 6.
Yeah.
The book of Deuteronomy.
Read verse 5.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it.
Right. So wherever we go to possess, wherever land we go, we're supposed to take these statutes and judgments. We're supposed to take these commandments with us. Same with how we read about the Sabbath, how they were profaning the Sabbath, and how we talked about how that's a part of our community, a big part of our culture. When you read in Leviticus 23, it's showing you that this is in all our dwellings. So wherever we go as a people, wherever we at, that's going to be a part of our community. So same thing we see here. The Lord gave us these statutes and these judgments. Now, these things follow us. They're supposed to go wherever we go in whatever land to possess it. Keep going.
Verse 6, keep therefore and do them. For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
Right, that's how we supposed to be looked at. That's how the other nations supposed to be around us looking like, this is a great and wise and understanding people. Because we taking a hold to what the Lord gave us. It's showing you this is our wisdom. In the sight of everybody, this is the wisdom that was given to us, how we should be looked at as so great because of the way we think. That's what it's showing you, the way we deal with certain things. This is why we're going to be looked at great. But you look and you see we left that wisdom, so now we think a different way. So we're not looked at as so great. Read the next verse.
Verse 7, for what nation is there so great, who have God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all... Excuse me. For what nation is there so great, who have God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon for him?
Right. What nation is there like unto us to have this privilege, the privilege of prayer, to be able to call on a higher power? What other nation is like this? Read the next verse. And it's like the same way how we were speaking about Joshua. To be able to see things going wrong and go inquire of the Lord. Why this is happening? What other nation have that privilege? Keep going.
And what nation is there so great that have statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day?
Right. So what nation is there so great to have this wisdom? To have this order that the Lord bestowed upon us? Who else has this? That's why we got to come back to this, that no evil can come upon us. Read the next verse.
Verse 9, only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently.
Right, same thing we read earlier in Ecclesiasticus 37 and 27 about proving thy soul. Keep going.
Lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life.
Right. Just like we always read in Hebrews 2 and 1. Take heed to the things you heard, these scriptures, unless you let them slip. And you make the same mistakes that we see our forefathers made in making a covenant with the other nations. Leaving our covenant. Losing our community. Keep going.
But teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons.
Right. We're supposed to teach this wisdom to our sons and their sons, that it may go throughout generations. So when things come about, when error is made, we know where to look and correct it. Like we mentioned, the same thing you see happening with Joshua. When they losing in a battle, he know they're not supposed to lose. So what do he have to fall back on? The Lord. He can inquire of the Lord and see where we went wrong, and then correct it and show the people, teach the people. This strengthens a community. This makes progress in the community. But that's what we lost. We don't have that gathering to be able to come together and understand to put forth correction. Go to Joshua chapter 8. And read verse... read verse 33.
The book of Joshua, chapter 8 and verse 33.
So before this, in Joshua chapter 7 and in the beginning of 8, you read about what was happening when they lost in the battle because of the sin, the man trying to take the Babylonian garment and the silver, coveting after the ways of the other nations. So you see, because of that sin put forth amongst us as a people, same thing we read about, you start to see a fall amongst us. So Joshua inquired of the Lord let him know there's some sin amongst you. So they put forth the judgment. Then afterwards, you see them go back up to war, and you see them conquer. You see them triumph in the battle. So now you see Joshua, he's going to come together and gather the people. And this is what makes a community strong, to be able to put forth correction, to give understanding of why certain things happen, so we can keep those things from reoccurring.
The book of Joshua, chapter 8 and verse 33. And all Israel and their elders and officers and their judges stood on this side the ark, and on that side before the priests the Levites, which bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, as well as the stranger as he was born among them, half of them over against Mount Gerizim, and the other and half of them over against Mount Ebal, as Moses the servant of the Lord had commanded before, that they should bless the people of Israel.
Read the next verse. Verse
34. And
so you see how they gathered all the people. Go ahead.
And afterward he read all the words of the law, and blessings and cursings according to all that is written in the book of the law.
Right. So you see this with the expounding on the blessings and the curses, how we would prosper if we be obedient, and how we would have destruction in our disobedience, because that was something that just happened amongst us as a people. Keep going.
Verse 35. There was not a that Moses commanded, which Joshua read not before all the congregation of Israel, with the woman and the little ones and the strangers that were conversing among them.
Right. So Joshua, he went over these things amongst all the congregation of the people, to show people, to put forth understanding. That's what we lack as a people, to be able to come together and take that counsel to understand what is evil for us, that we don't keep giving it to ourselves. Go to Proverbs chapter 11. And verse 14.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 11 and verse 14. By the blessing of the
11 and 14.
Oh, that's 11 and 11, my bad. Verse 14. Where no counsel is.
Where no counsel is. Where no unity is. Where no gathering is. Keep going.
The people fail.
The people fall. The people gonna fall if there's no counsel. So as we just saw the example with Joshua, we see that example of counsel. The example of being able to correct the matter and explain it to the people, to help us keep progress as a community. Read that verse again.
Verse 14. Where no counsel is, the people fall. But in the multitudes of counselors, there is safety.
Right, but in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. In the multitude of counselors, in going to our scriptures for counsel, for direction, for vision, like we read earlier, for seeking this vision, man, there's safety. That's why the scriptures say if we follow these things, there shall no evil come amongst us. We need to have faith in that. Go to John chapter 10 and verse 9.
The book of St. John, chapter 10 and verse 9. I am the door.
Verse 10.
Verse 10. The thief cometh not, but to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life.
So the Lord has come that we may have life, that we might be able to build as a people according to how the Lord meant for us to build. Because we understood how the thief came. We understand how the thief came for us. So now the Lord is saying he's come that we might have life. Keep going.
And that they might have it more abundantly.
And that we might have it more abundantly. So I'm going to end it with that. Lord's will, everybody is able to get some edification from it. I know I was. I know I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you too.
I hope y'all brothers and sisters was able to enjoy it too. We got to come back to that life that the Lord gave us. We got to seek that life. We got to understand what is life. What are these parts of life? What are the things we lacking? We see we lack in the community, but we can understand through the scriptures how we going to build it, how we going to get it back, how we going to recover it. So with that, I'm going to end it with that. I hope y'all receive understanding. I know later on tonight, Elder coming on at 10. What's your topic tonight?
The blood.
The blood. So make sure y'all tune in at 10 for the elders class. Then make sure you're in it for overtime. That's how we putting it down. Lord's will, everybody can get understanding. And with that, we're going to say shalom.
Shalom.